Hi, I'm Dave March, and welcome to Land of Confusion, where we're going have a conversation with some people who are denizens of the pit.
Ooh.
I've had to walk around. This place is a little crazy. I keep walking into pendulums. It's a little wonky that way. So here today we have Sisyphus, Arahant, and Mule Skinner.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Hello.
It's come out differently when we see the film. So
Yeah.
Actually, friends, this isn't Arahant. I'm his evil twin, Tanahara. Just figured I'd warn you about that.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
I like those backwards names.
Mm-hmm.
Famous coworkers. Coworker was introduced to this new woman who was working at the company, and he goes, "Hi, my name's Bernie." She says, she says, "Yeah." He says, "Hi, I'm Bernie," and she says, "I'm Natasha." He goes, "Ah, Satan." And it freaked her out the rest of the day.
Okay. Well, does anyone know here how the pit started? I'm kind of curious on that one.
Yes. It was started by a character by the name of 10 Cents. He actually started a lot of things, including the quote of the day. He started the group writing. He started a few other things that aren't as active now. And he started the pit. And it started out as the People I Hate thread. But before that, he put out a post that was something like, name your 3 favorite Ricochet members. And he got a big pushback on that from people saying things like, what the heck is this, high school? And so I believe I remember, and I could very well be wrong about that, but I believe I remember that the People I Hate thread was sort of a response to the response he got on the, name 3 people you like on Ricochet.
Also, a broader response to the code of conduct, where if we were going to have this area where we're going to be so utterly and horribly civil to each other, we needed to have this one little corner where we could call each other names with impunity. So,
Cool.
But they're classy names for the
Like
most
poopy, like Poopy Head.
oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Personally, I like to use Etoine Shurdlu, but that's just me.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of the stuff that was going in through the pit yesterday, and like you don't see anything like that on Ricochet with that certain robot that I won't go into any more details on.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't remember robot. I remember the sex, whatever they are. I guess that could be considered a robot.
Yeah. Okay.
Sex dolls.
Yeah. Very incredibly lifelike one.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, this is the pit, right? Like, there's 5 or 6.
Yeah. So I don't actually do the pit. I've wandered in a whole bunch of times to take a look and chuckle merrily to myself. But the pit is freaking large, right? I mean, it's really large, and I just don't have the time to carry on a conversation there.
Well, we're on the 21st one, and I think a few of them have gone over 100,000 comments.
Over 100,000 comments.
Right.
Wow.
Right now, it's running to 600 to 800 comments a day.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a lot of conversation going on, and this is why I've spoken on the pit, but I have watched it a bit.
And it's at least 20 conversations at a time going on. That's the funnest part, keeping track of them all.
No, it's sort of a play on the Ricochet style of not indenting conversations, of being a flat, time only conversation format.
It gives them the ability to cross-pollinate from time to time.
Yeah, yeah. It's sort of like, playing on that format. What you can do with it. You can skip around. You can jump back and forth.
The only way to be off topic is to be on topic.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it's sort of that's like the fuel for it, I guess.
And we have some interesting characters in there, like Cat 3. Have to mention him, especially since Dave March already did Peripherally. He loves posting pictures of trannies and sex dolls and things like that. Of course, Henry Castaigne also has been known to post pictures of androids or pseudo androids, artist conceptions of future sex dolls and what have you. But so there's some stuff there that definitely gets into the risque and odd. The other day I was someone had mentioned an actress in a film that I actually have never seen, which is, I believe, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh yeah.
And there's a scene where she's in the bikini, and so someone posted a picture of that with her in the bikini. And it was just when my wife was going to bed that I was coming across that. And I was looking at it to see, have I ever seen this actress in anything before?
So you're
I'm
close up
looking
squinting.
Not quite. No, not doing that, Don. But still, I was looking at this picture rather intently. And my wife's like, okay, fine. And, stalks off. And I had to chase her down for a goodnight kiss. But she's like, you're looking at some gal in a bikini. Well, I just wanted to know if I'd ever seen the actress before, dear.
Yeah, right.
Could have been worse. You could have clicked on the link there at about that time.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, clicking on links in the pit is not a good idea. Just saying here.
Yeah, that actress, I do know her. She was in Gremlins. And she ended up marrying, I believe, Kevin Kline. And that's why she kind of disappeared. She became one of these Hollywood she had a couple kids with him, and they've been, like, from what I understand, one of the longest running marriages in Hollywood, actually.
Damn.
Well, good for them. As for me, I've never seen all these high-class movies like Gremlins or Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I guess I have missed out on a lot. But last I looked at the pit, which was about 5 minutes before we started, I noticed we were going into young adult novels and how bad they are and how woke they are. And that started from a thread where someone quoted a tweet from a young adult novel writer who was an idiot, talking about how bad it is to teach the classics.
Hold it. Let's hold on that for a second. Is this like the young adult romance novels, or is it like Tom Swift and his secret hovercraft, or is it like
Don? It's the modern version of Tom Swift, except for one thing: they've gone really bad and really woke since then. I mean, Tom Swift was what, painful. The 50s or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this ain't the 50s no more. Let me tell you, friend.
There was there was the Tom Swift series. There was
the Hardy Brothers, the
Hardy
Drew.
Nancy Drew. There's one I liked called the Mad Scientist Club.
Yeah.
But that wasn't as extensive as the others.
Or 60s, wasn't it?
There was one I remember reading from that time when I was growing up as a kid in the school library, and it was like, one guy, a redheaded kid, and his father was some sort of scientist, and each book would be them discovering some other new nifty thing, like using weather control machines, drones, laser guns, all sorts of fun things.
Also, didn't the Tom Swift books create this thing called Swifties or something? This way of writing when you add the extra replacing the word "said," like he said, with a more exotic word followed by an adverb, like he mumbled justifiably or something like that. It was,
Yes.
is that instead of the word "said," right?
Right.
Was it the right book series? That
Yes, those are
Yeah.
called Tom Swifties. But Don, that, as I say, that's 70, 80 years ago.
Hmm.
You're in young adult stuff that's way old. I mean, even when I was a kid, the only young adult book that I ever had to read in class was one called Dinky Hocker Shoots Smack. And that was in the 70s.
what?
Yeah, it's a really bad, really cringy novel about this girl whose mother won't pay her attention. Her mother's big on, drug prevention and drug, this, that, and the other, treating drug addicts. So the girl decides that in order to get attention, she's going to spray paint Dinky Hocker, her name, Dinky Hocker, shoots smack all over the place so that her mother will pay her more attention.
Okay,
I mean, that's the sort of young adult things, except that was 50 years ago. Okay. Now
I missed that one.
they're even worse.
Okay.
Okay,
Wow.
put a link to it in the comments. Hocker shoots smack.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to miss that. That's yeah.
Oy vey.
I'd like to hear a dramatic reading from that book, actually.
Wow.
I would like that. Can we do that?
We could, I guess at some point we could do a dramatic reading of this crazy book. We have the time and we have the technology.
Wait a second. Can we do it right now? Up something.
You want to go pay for a copy of the book, Don? You can do a dramatic reading from it.
Is it online? Hold on.
It's it online.
I didn't
Pay
archive.
no attention to Don. He'll be searching for a while.
Dinky Hocker.
Shoots smack, as in heroin.
That is the craziest thing.
No, they're much crazier now.
They're actually shooting smack.
Yeah, it exists. Huh, I'll be damned. Oh, there's a whole Wikipedia page.
Of course.
If there's a quote, if we could do it'd be great to do a dramatic reading of that.
It was written to produce the Wikipedia page. I mean, this is the pinnacle now.
Of
I
course,
wrote
it was
something.
written before Wikipedia, but
Yeah, right.
Right?
Well, they didn't know what they were after. They just, they just hit the target. They weren't aiming at it.
I wonder. Oh, Google Books. You just grab something here.
Okay. What else is going on in the pit these days? Or this minute?
Actually, that's a really
I
good
have
question.
it's kind of strange to look at the pit and then look at all the people on our group and realize that almost all of them are the same. The Pitizens and Land of Confusion are almost all the same people.
The
Well,
Pit's
it
a
is-
big group, though.
one of the groups. I mean, a lot of the people are some of the most active people on Ricochet.
And others only go to the pit. They've got no use for that other stuff.
Well,
Right.
that's true. Some people you won't see much outside of the pit. But we've got 4 roadies, and then Matt Balzer, who counts as another half roadie.
We had 5 roadies. Because getting
What's
a
a-
5 roadie
what's a
post
roadie?
is a thing. Getting 5 roadie likes is a thing.
What
Oh,
is
really?
a roadie? He asked. Well, you see, there's old Dan roadie, and then
Okay.
his 3 sons, Hank roadie,
Okay.
Caleb roadie, and Sam roadie.
Gotcha.
And then there's Matt Balzer, who counts as a roadie, especially when you're looking for the 5 road, a hand of 5 roadies, or 5 likes from roadies.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Since he used to live with Hank, we're guessing that being a roadie may be contagious, so you might want to stay away from them.
It's a collect them all thing.
All right.
Now you can stop and wonder what a family of, it's a much bigger family, but what it is to have 5, people that you actually know all in the pit all the time.
More than no, it's a family.
Exactly.
Yeah, would anyone else want their father in the pit?
Ooh.
Actually, if my father was still alive, he'd be an interesting guy to have in the pit, as he taught political science for 25 years and had some crazy stories. I think one of my favorites of his is that during the 70s, he said all his professors went, other than him, and a few of the other guys were former military. He was like a pilot officer. That's how far back in time he was an officer. And he said, but he would wear his suit every day to work because it was part of his uniform. And then one day, he shows up summer. He doesn't know why, but all the other profs who had been smoking dope and doing all these crazy things with their students all showed up wearing professor in their suits. Just one summer just stopped and everyone was back to normal. So that gives me kind of good hope for things in the future.
And that was in Canada?
Yep. I think it was right around when Ronald Reagan gets reelected or gets elected from his time frame.
Well, the best thing in the pit are the Skinnerville stories.
Okay.
Really?
I don't know what are the Skinnerville stories. See, this is also, by the way, this is also a nice introduction to the pit for non-citizens like myself. So you can give us a tour kind of thing.
Is there a favorite one?
Is there one
All
we
of
can
them.
repeat?
See what Mule Skinner doesn't talk much on here, but he's got all these stories. He's got a whole cast of characters. There's Boom Boom Skinner and there's BF Skinner and just all the Skinners and all his stories from growing up in Skinnerville. They tend to be pretty good stuff.
Okay.
Well,
So what are the topics on in the pit today right now? What we got going?
Well, do you have one of those Skinnerville stories you can tell us before we go in more further into the pit there, Mule Skinner?
well, old man Skinner was I think his favorite sport was boxing, which is really sort of odd since he was 6'2" and weighed, I think when he was fighting, he was like 138 pounds. So he was wiry, would be a nice way of putting it. Anyway, he decided that me and my brother Buck Skinner should learn how to box. So he brought home some 16-ounce gloves when we were kids and kind of showed us some of the finer points of that in the evenings. And long about the time I turned 14, I was about as big as old man Skinner. Might have had a few pounds on him, but he was trying to show me a combination punch, kind of a left jab and then a fake with the right and then come back under. And he was trying to get me to do that with him, and then he'd just slap away that hard right and too slow. Well, I being 14 and knowing everything in the world, I figured that the only reason that it was too slow was because he knew the second one was a fake. So I faked the jab and just belted him. Darn near knocked him out. His eyes kind of glazed over and his hands went down and lost all expression. And I thought, oh crap. So he steps forward and I'm thinking about, well, I could start to run, but we're a long ways from home. And, or I could just take my beating now. So I stand in there, give it the best stance I can. And I think he threw 8 punches, starting about waist high, so right and a left and a right and a left and a right and a left. And I caught the last 3 in the head and I was down. And he was standing over me saying, "You okay?" And yeah. He goes, "Well, I think maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. Somebody might get hurt." Well, about 20 years later, I'm at a cousin's wedding, and one of my mom's great uncles is there, and he asked me if I remembered watching the Old Man box, and I said, "Well, not really. I have kind of a hazy memory of being in a dark room where there was a big square ring that was really lit bright." But he said, "Man, he was the quickest guy I ever knew. Boxed one, when he was 135, 138 in there. He said he'd go a whole tournament, nobody'd lay a glove on him. He was so quick, and then his reach was so long, nobody'd get close. So it was kind of fun to watch." And I said, "You say he's quick?" And he said, "I never saw anybody that quick." And I said, "Okay, that explains an awful lot."
Made you feel a little better about taking those punches, huh?
Just a bit. I couldn't get my hands up fast enough.
Well, looking at
Very good.
Well, there's one thing with, as people know, there's been some little bit of controversy on the site right now. So I invited Western Chauvinist on and Blue Yeti to have a debate, and no one seems to really want to have the debate. So I'm in the group. Western Chauvinist bowed out, but I dropped that one on the pit last night, and some people were 2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Yes, that would happen.
Yeah.
The thing about the pit is that a lot of it is you had to be there, and we actually have a whole list of pitisms that we sometimes will get into using, and anyone who is not familiar with the pit list or hasn't been there for years and years will be like, "What is going on here?"
Mm-hmm.
Let me bring up the list here, if I remember where it is. Probably on Ricochet folder.
We have a list.
Oh,
So
we have the list.
Is it pitisms or piticisms?
Whatever it is, we pity the fool.
Yeah, I was waiting.
I miss Mr. T.
He's still
Here
around.
we go. We've got 42 of them that start with Topless Asian Story Time. Then, of course, several of them have come from people like Keith Olbermann or good old Joe Biden, like Treacherous Russian Whores, or You're a Lying Dog-Faced Pony Soldier.
I remember that one.
I remember that one. That was
Look
sweet.
at that. Come on, man. Are you a junkie? We've got some other weird ones that have come up, like Linda Ronstadt. And again, you had to be there. It was a conversation probably about 4 or 5 pits ago at least, where just something happened where there was a juxtaposition of a couple of posts, and someone was talking about, German Mexicans or something like that, people with both Mexican and German heritage. And I said, like Linda Ronstadt, except that there was another comment or two in between. And it was really funny with whatever it was paired with. So suddenly we're going, boom, boom, boom. And someone else comes up with like Linda Ronstadt. And, it got added to the list.
Okay.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Well, yeah, that's everywhere now.
Yeah. Teenage Romanian gymnasts. And then, of course, there's one that's often paraphrased in there from the Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Badges? Badges? We don't need no stinking badges. So a lot of that happens.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
All right.
And who is the master of the list, or is just there a list that anyone can edit?
Well, I've kind of taken on keeping the list just because one of the best, or the 41st one. As I said, there are 42, but one that happened recently. One of the things that we do in the pit is sometimes we'll have a run to special numbers or things like that. So one of the things we look for is palindromes, where we might be on comment number 1,700 and 17,671. Okay, so we would grab that as a palindrome. So again, a pit or so ago, I was marching toward the palindrome, or saw that the palindrome was the next comment. So I posted, "Might as well take the palindrome," and unfortunately, two other people commented before I commented, because the pit can be very, very fast. So I wound up 2 after the palindrome. And so Matt Balzer especially has been taking the mickey out of me on that one for a while. He'll Matt or Hank will just be in a random place not near a palindromic number and say, "Might as well take the palindrome."
Oh, I see.
I spent forever looking for an actual palindrome when he was saying that. And it was only a couple of days later that I noticed the post number. So knowing what a palindrome was, I was looking for
Madam, I'm Adam.
Palindrome, It's Adam, I had him, yeah. Adam, I'm Adam.
Yep. Well, it's Natasha. Satan.
Right. Actually,
you didn't get the joke from before.
I think Kirky and Wanderer would probably appreciate that. One of her instructors is named Natasha because she's studying Russian, among other things. So
cool. Well, looking at the pit, I would just like the title here of the current pit with its 29,051 comments. Pit 20B, the apocalypse now. What about now? Now?
Yeah, a lot of times what's written up at the top of a pit it can be a lot of fun. Now, in that case, the right nurse was talking about, I was promised death and destruction. I was promised all this death, whatever. People can read it, but the promises have not come true.
Oh, just kind of, I remember, back when net neutrality was abolished, watching Ben Shapiro.
Well, yeah, we're all supposed to die at this point.
Yeah, we were all supposed to die when net neutrality was abolished. Ben Shapiro is going on Dave Rubin's show, I believe, and he's coming in and so I was driving through all the smoky, bombed out craters to get here. I hope you still have some food for me, because apparently we're all dead.
Yeah, we've since Trump took office, and in fact, probably 3 months before that when he was elected, I think we've died at least 20 times.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So welcome to zombie future. Mm-hmm. We're all zombies, whether we know it or not.
Having the media try to panic me after I survived, quote unquote, the Y2K thing, it's all a joke now.
Right.
You can't even watch television anymore. It just doesn't happen.
And likewise, NPR.
Yes.
I mean,
I grew up in DC, so government is the local thing. And my wife was a NPR fan, and she, non-commercial. And I said, they try to sell you an average of 3 government programs every 5 minutes. And we sat there in the car and I counted them off as they came up. And in half an hour, I got to 30. So, I won that discussion. NPR is nothing but commercial radio.
Mm-hmm. Right. Although they do have very good production values.
Well, yeah, because they don't have to pay for anything.
Right. Yeah, but you see, you have this great production value for something that's terrible.
I know, but you know,
It's
Ira Glass's microphone is just a thing of beauty, right?
yeah. Here, let me put manure on a plate, dress it up with a few leaves, and gee, doesn't that look great?
Nice.
Or of course, there's the old Utah Phillips story. You all know about that one, don't you?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of this thing.
Well, you see, Utah Phillips was working on a crew as on the railroad and laying railroad track and what have you. And they didn't actually have a cook with the crew. So one of the crew members had to cook. And the way that they did it was whoever complained got to start cooking. Well, these guys were pretty good at not complaining, but Utah Phillips was new at it.
Yeah.
And so, of course, he was a loudmouth and he complained. So he wound up cooking. And he was cooking a lot because no one else was complaining. So he was looking for inspiration of a way to make people complain. And he saw the biggest moose turd out there on the prairie where they were working. And he gathered it up. And he thought, I'm going to get these guys. And so he took time and, he made a really nice paste dough for it. And he created a moose turd pie.
Oof.
And, they had whatever for the main meal, but then he had the moose turd pie for dessert. And he served it up and just waited because he knew someone was going to complain and that he would get off of cooking duty. Well, big, huge, muscular guy was on the crew, and he took that piece and he looked at that crust and he said, oh man, this looks wonderful. And he took his first bite and he's, my God, this is moose turd pie. And then he realized that could be considered a complaint. And so he amended and said, it's good though.
Yeah. Good boy.
I like these. I miss the days when people would adopt a state name as their first name, like Utah Phillips, Minnesota Fats. We don't see that as much nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
Know anybody named after a state? I don't.
Tex,
Texas is nice. Texas is nice.
I think we've got one on Ricochet somewhere.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's a few people that are still doing that.
It's better than the cook at the Dew Line station in Greenland that if you complained, he just threatened to poison you the next time. And he seemed to be just about crazy enough to do it. So, man, I love liver and onions.
Okay.
Psychotic cooks are my favorite. No question. They really keep the group in line.
What is it? I was watching some old Horatio Nelson hornblower show. And in one of the episodes, they're all stuck on a plague ship in quarantine, sort of like us. So this one guy who's an official agent's being put to work on the boat because, we need people to do stuff. And he's got, they put him in as a chef's mate or like a cook mate. And the guy's like, I don't know if things are that great. And then the guy's like, well, for one thing, the chef's like, this job's not that bad. We get all the best cuts. And he's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of cooking, that's another thing that we talk about a lot in the pit.
Yeah.
And abuse people for.
Tentacle humor.
Oh,
well.
always have.
Kirky and Wanderer has been the brunt of it quite a bit lately because she actually likes to post about what she's making, and it's often Asian dishes, shall we say, and sometimes that does involve tentacles and other ingredients that most people in the West would not be familiar with or interested in.
So yeah,
Well,
I
Before
I-
that, I was the primary butt of jokes with my spinach pizza.
I like just about all foods. Anybody ever ask, what will you have? And I'll say, I'll have anything, unless it involves tentacles. And that's usually my answer. Anything but tentacles. Not a big tentacles fan.
Oh no! Well, we have all these great shows from Japan. We need to show you, Don. You'll like tentacles after that.
I don't think so. Heard about those.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who was it? Wasn't there some news person that got caught with tentacle porn on the screen or something?
My belief is that someone, one of the guys at CNN, who got caught on a Zoom call, playing with himself.
No, that's different. This is before.
Okay. Okay. No, then I don't know anything about that.
All I can tell you
I think
is,
his name was Icon or something. I can't look up, but he was he was at a screen or something, and this was before COVID, and one of the tabs on his browser had something about tentacle porn. And, he had some extra tabs in the browser.
I vaguely do remember that. The thing is, though, of course, we've got Cat 3, and he would be happy to provide lots of tentacle pictures and explain why this is actually an important art form in the East. I mean, you just go for what is it, the Dream of the Fisherman's Wife? I think that sort of started it all.
I think it's Kurt Eichenwald.
Oh wow!
And of course, there's the sex scene from Galaxy Quest.
Oh,
The section from
oh
Galaxy
yeah.
Quest. I'm a fan of Galaxy Quest. What's
That's
the section?
just raw.
Yeah. It's just.
Well, that killed it.
Yep. Well, hey. I'm sure someone will start it up soon and get enough again. What do we got here? Yeah. So people. Hank Rody, freelance philosopher, is saying, for what it's worth, anesthesia is something I'm afraid of. Last time I went under completely well. So, and he's posting something, the nature of reality. It's a Ricochet archive post. I'm sure it's safe. I'm sure I can click on it and be fine. Right?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Unless it's in the pit.
Oh, it was in the pit.
Yeah, well.
No.
Pit references to other pits, that's dangerous territory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think we're right now on the 21st. Of course, that there have actually been several different types of pits. One of them was, for a while, there were chicks pits. I don't know if they're still happening, but basically where, a bunch of ladies and Mike LaRoche would hang out and talk. And then there's the music pit.
Hey, Don,
Oh yeah, that one. That one I posted a bunch there.
That tends to go a little slower than the main pit, but we just post various types of music there and whatever.
Yeah, I think we should just call it something musical so people will know it's there. I don't get the reason to have the obscurity on that one.
Well, it started out actually where, a lot of times we wind up closing down a pit because of Max. He'll say, that we're the ones causing problems on Ricochet, that we're the ones making it slow down. And so either he'll close a pit or suggest that we close it or something. And so we'll start a new pit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the old pits, Dean Murphy or Mean Durfee, excuse me, took over and started posting music in it. And so that was how the music pit started, was he took an old one and then Max closed that one.
Mm.
And so he started a new one, which is why it's labeled something like pit 14B III, 3. So
Okay. Yeah, it's just interesting. Like, for those who don't know, earlier this week I posted something to Ricochet, and it got promoted to the main feed, and then half an hour later it was down again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I canceled my National Review subscription because I think it's like you can't. There's stuff going on in your country. It needs to be talked about. And they just don't want to talk about the things like the Michigan hearing yesterday. And so I wrote this thing up, and then someone on the staff at Ricochet promoted it to the main feed when they weren't supposed to, and added some more inflammatory language than my original note was. And yeah, so that caused a nice little bit of controversy.
Wasn't the classic line something like "cancel your own damn subscription"?
Yes.
Or
Yep.
Yes. Cancel your own goddamn subscription. I have the book. That's the title of the book.
Yes.
Oh, is that a title of a book? Great.
It's the title of the book by William F. Buckley. It's
by
his
William
notes and asides for several years captured in a book.
Okay.
He had a feature called Notes and Asides, where he would rail
In
against
National
John
Review,
Kenneth Galbraith, or he would respond to little notes, and one of them was cancel your own goddamn subscription. Somebody gave him a raft of stuff about taking a position and told him to cancel his subscription, and he said to cancel your own damn subscription. Own goddamn.
Okay, well, that's a long. I guess I'm on a long list of people who've angrily canceled their subscriptions to that magazine. I'm sure I'll be back. I know my political mentor is a guy named Jerry Purnell, and he was a science fiction writer, and he got kicked out. He canceled his subscription right around the time the Iraq War, because he was very anti that war.
And David French on the back page read everybody who wasn't going to support the Iraq War out of the conservative movement.
Yeah.
And Jerry Purnell said, "Who is this guy? And where does he get off reading me out of the conservative movement?" And so he decided that National Review would just read itself out of the conservative movement. So.
Yeah. So I'm very suspicious of that particular place, but I'm going to guess it.
Also, but there are roots with Ricochet and National Review. There are business connections and such, and maybe they're not in the best ways right now. So maybe some executive decision says
Blue Yeti privately messaged me and said, "Hey, look, we were not going to burn our relationship so you could be on the main feed." And I'm like, dude, don't worry. I did not write that expecting that. Of all the posts that I've put up in the last 3 weeks, I didn't think that one was going to go to the main feed.
Right. There's things you write for the main feed. There's things you write that if they want to put it on the main feed, fine. And there's things you never want to see on the main feed.
Yeah.
If they make the editorial decisions, they want to burn National Review, and you hand them a club, and they use the club. It's not on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that will never go to the main feed, that's one of the things about the pit, is that will never go to the main feed.
Certainly true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's got 33 votes. Let me see here. Oh no, we're 39 likes. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be breaking in some new guy, and he's going to put it out there. And the world will come to an end.
I like that, the breaking in the new guy scenario. It's really good.
Usually when the pit is started, it is marked as do not promote, but it looks like this particular one was not. But as you say, if not for a new guy, it's probably going to be okay and won't be promoted, but one never knows. The other thing is that, let's see here, 77 people are following the pit.
Right.
Right.
And I'm not one of them.
Well, you just get it shows up in the notifications. I think that's the same here for me. I'm not following it either.
Well, it's not unusual for somebody to come by that hasn't been in the pit for say 3,000, 4,000 messages, and you just jump in and you start responding to stuff.
Yeah, that's
You
usually
don't
me.
care. This isn't the kind of thread where you're going to worry about duplicating somebody else's comment, because somebody else is going to come in and they're only going to read the last 500 messages, and they're going to miss whoever you stepped on anyway. So, you know, at least they'll get one flavor of the quote, the comment.
Yeah,
I think it was on the flagship podcast a long time ago with the first pit, the very first pit. Peter Robinson referred to it as performance art, that what people had created in the very first pit, this crazy long conversation. I think he referred to it as performance art or something like that.
That's not a bad description at times, especially with some of the folks who like to post more out there stuff like Cat 3. But it's also been described as the backroom bar of Ricochet.
Yeah,
I'm surprised folks don't use the live chat as the backroom bar. That would be kind of
hit or miss.
fun.
If you go to the chat and there's not an event, chances are you're the only one there.
Right.
And you know, the synchronicity isn't the same. You know, if you miss each other by 10 minutes, then it's a miss. If you're in a thread, then you just leave a message and everybody piles on you the minute you turn around. So
it'd be kind of fun if the live chat went pitted for a while.
I think we have done that at times.
That could be dangerous, to have the pit take over the live chat for a few days. That could be
that sounds like a good idea.
Sounds like
Its time has come.
Or it might be the pit going just a bit too far.
Performance art.
Max Ledoux, if he watches or when he watches this, will be like, no.
Oh,
Does anybody know when he's going on vacation?
no.
Is that when we take over the live chat?
I'm thinking. I can't imagine a better time.
Yeah, that would be a good time. I'm sure that people would be very confused at the
and yet he's too busy doing real work.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I wonder what the relative hit on the servers is for live chat compared to just posting in the pit.
I don't think it makes any difference. I mean, this stuff is pulled out of a database either way, and it's not a big deal.
For live chat, it becomes a factor of how many people are following simultaneously, because it has to replicate the feed however many times. But until you get to thousands of people, it's not important.
Right. I mean, it billions of operations per second these days. It's just not an issue.
Yeah.
You know, our off-the-shelf computers do billions of operations per second. Think about that.
True, Don, but you have a lot more confidence in the software behind Ricochet than I do.
Well,
Here's something to bear in mind. Your graphics processor on your midline computer that you bought this year can do 1 million password tries in a second.
mm-hmm.
Okay, that used to be, you know, not all that long ago, that was government level cracking.
Right. And this is the processor that was developed for games and porn.
Right.
Main application,
CGI porn, yes.
main performance drive, the main performance goal was games and porn.
Now you understand the pit.
And the internet, for that matter.
And the internet.
Yeah, well, was it?
No, the classic is that that porn has driven a lot of technological development. Certainly, go way back when the VHS versus Beta
I think that
video
was
cassette, the controversy. It was VHS was clumsier, and Beta was higher performance and slicker. But the Beta, Sony owning the Beta trademark and all, didn't allow porn on it, and because of the demand for porn, VHS, the worst format, became embraced and took off.
I think that one's an urban legend.
It is.
There's a lot of porn on Beta.
Really?
I believe
haven't looked at any recently.
I believe that was discussed on
I know a guy who had to have the largest collection of Laserdisc porn from back in the 80s, I guess.
Well, that's the way to do it. I mean, the Laserdisc format, it was the lowest anomaly format forever.
Mm.
It was way better than VHS or Beta.
Yeah.
Just not as many movies ever went on it for whatever reason.
Oh, fewer players. The players were expensive.
Oh yeah, true.
And
Also, just playing audio vinyl is tough enough. Getting video signals on there is really difficult.
Actually, this comment was on the pit a couple of weeks ago,
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah?
was.
so it fit right in. I don't believe it was an urban legend. I think it was. I saw it as a discussion of catastrophe theory and economics, and just the idea that just a few people buying the one version over the other reduced the costs of making the players enough that Panasonic was able to kind of corner the market with the VHS, and Beta went away really fast.
There was also a length of time issue too. I think one could store like a full movie, the other required two discs, two
tapes.
two tapes or something. I don't remember. A
Beta
long
Max
time ago.
was a shorter one, yeah.
That could be it too. But porn's on the list.
Yeah, just looking at the power of all these computers, and I think to myself about all these old science fiction shows and how they would be so impressed by, like, they say, oh, data can do all these computations in the 24th century, and it's like, my computer does that now.
My phone does that.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. The number of computations, just crazy. It's in the billions a second.
The whole concept of phone is radically transformed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, when do you actually talk to people on this thing anymore? Like, I make a phone call. My dentist was the first phone call I've had in a while, or other than my mom. I mean, everyone else is texting and doing all these other things.
No, it answers everybody's need for a small personal device that does something.
Oh.
Now you just watch it as it rings a number you don't know. It's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember the days when we raced for the phone?
Right?
Yeah.
And the fact that we would just know 10 or 20 phone numbers off by heart.
Mm-hmm.
We're hard pressed to even remember our own phone number.
Right.
Hey, my phone just told me that my COVID test came back negative just this moment.
All right. Yay.
Hey.
Yay, you.
Congratulations.
So I can go back to work because every cold is considered COVID unless proven otherwise.
That's right.
I feel so bad for the cold being like getting this terrible label put upon it.
Well,
Being
no, it's been
associated with-
exonerated. It's been exonerated. It's not COVID. So,
Okay.
of course, the cold might have been into being a lethal, lung-destroying varmint, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, guys, we've been talking here about an hour, and I usually like to close the shows down after about that. So is there anything, one great thing about the pit that you each want to share with us?
you don't
Actually,
like the
yes.
top-
Oh, go ahead.
If you don't like the topic, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's going to change.
Now, I have it on good authority that the pit is a horrible place that drives people off. So, you know, someone emailed or private messaged me to tell me that when I mentioned the pit once. And so I want you all to know that it's a terrible place. Don't go there. Don't even look for the pit. It's just a horrible place. You don't want to go there because they're all terrible people who hang out there. Again, I have it on good authority.
Okay.
And could you describe how someone would find the pit so they know to avoid it?
Don't look for the pit. It will look for you.
Or we could actually put the link in the comments.
Yeah,
that would be
do
mean.
not go there. Do not go there.
Yeah, you don't want to go there. It's a terrible place. Meanest place on Ricochet. There's a reason it was called the People I Hate thread.
Right. And the other thing you don't want to do is look at what is it, the all activity tab, where you can see everybody's posts come in. You can
Oh gosh,
everybody's comment comes in, and you can see.
that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And most importantly, don't think of the pink elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Neil Skinner, you got anything you want to say about the pit?
It is a tremendous waste of time, and I love every second of it.
Well said.
Okay. Well, this is everything you ever wanted to know about the pit, and we're afraid to ask, and now we told you. So here you go. I want to say thanks for the panel. I hope we do more of these in the future. Like we already did one without Dawn, which I threw together to cover the election, and we're doing this one today, just kind of like to do things.
Where I'm least qualified to talk.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, my allergy medication's wearing off. So I'll see you guys in the comments on Ricochet. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye bye.
All right.